Hi everyone, I'm Sarah at Balanced, and this week I'm here to bust the myth that we need more protein and that animal source foods are the best form of protein for our bodies. So the fact is that while there's still some debate on how much protein we need, I feel very confident in saying that the vast majority of Americans are not protein deficient. Rather, this country is consuming about twice as much protein as we really need, and we're getting too much of that protein from animal sources and not enough of it from plant sources. Too much protein isn't benign either. Animal source protein has an acid-forming effect on the body, which can contribute to muscle loss over time. Animal protein also causes kidney damage by inducing an inflammatory response and hyperfiltration. And because animal proteins are similar to the proteins of our own bodies, it spurs the production of growth factors that can fuel tumor growth. In the same vein, animal proteins with similar structures to our own can trigger allergies and autoimmunity. Exposure to dairy proteins, for example, have been strongly linked to type 1 diabetes. By contrast, plant proteins don't appear to have these same effects on our body, even at higher levels of intake. But there's a long litany of other issues with animal protein that really should have us reaching for beans instead of beef more often than not. First, animal products tend to be the most contaminated with industrial pollutants, other environmental toxins, and heavy metals. Seafood tends to be especially contaminated due to runoff into waterways and oceans, and these contaminants can include things like lead, cadmium, dioxins, and prescription drug compounds. Secondly, animal proteins tend to be the most consistently contaminated with fecal bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, Campylobacter, among others, as well as some dangerous viruses, some of which have been shown to cause cancer. For example, bovine leukemia virus, which is acquired through the consumption of meat and dairy, may account for up to 37% of all breast cancer cases in the US. And increasingly, we are finding multi-drug resistant microbes in the meat supply. With respect to bacterial contamination, one study found that across 26 states, chicken products were, quote, contaminated with extensively antibiotic-resistant and presumably virulent E. coli isolates. And though these bacteria can be killed during the cooking process, bacterial toxins like endotoxins cannot be cooked away. These toxins can damage the lining of our blood vessels over time, contributing to atherosclerosis and cardiovascular disease. Third, there are a number of naturally occurring aspects of animal protein, apart from the protein itself, that can pose problems for our health. These include heme iron, which damages the pancreas and precipitates type 2 diabetes, carcinogens like heterocyclic amines, nitrosamines in processed meats, saturated fat, naturally occurring trans fat in beef and dairy, cholesterol, especially oxidized cholesterol, TMAO precursors like carnitine, animal estrogens, and the list goes on and on. These and other harmful constituents are often found in animal products that we often consider healthier options, like eggs, yogurt, and white meat. People often think that poultry and fish are healthier than red meat, but in reality, poultry and fish contain a lot of the same harmful components as red meat, and sometimes to an even greater extent, especially concerning heavy metals like mercury and arsenic. And so switching from red meat to poultry and fish is a lot like going from smoking a pack of cigarettes a day to half a pack of cigarettes a day. It's less harmful, but still far from optimal at the levels consumed. Plant-based foods, in the majority of cases, do not carry the same risks that animal products do. The best thing that we can do for our health is to simply reduce the amount of animal source foods in our diets and to increase our consumption of health-promoting foods like whole grains, legumes, fruits and vegetables, and plant-based alternatives to meat, eggs, and dairy. Thank you for watching this week's installment of the Balanced Mythbusters series. Bye everyone!